I also think that because Pat Buck came from another company that did very, very well at that location,
Yeah.
and his name alone at the top of that company's name, at the letterhead, I guess you can say, was a big selling point for these fans. So we've had a couple of conversations with Pat Buck the last couple of weeks leading up to big event and to his first show, and he seemed very excited and everything else, and we'll get to talk to him and probably in the next couple of weeks leading up to Legends of the Ring and get his opinion on his first show. And I know he's got another one coming up next month, things like that. So how about you? I mean, it was kind of your outside of Warriors of Wrestling, JCW, and SWF. I think this was like your first show outside of those.
Yeah, I was quite impressed.
Oh, D2W, you've been a part of that once,
Yeah.
I think. Yeah.
I've been around. But I was really, I thought it was an unbelievable experience. Just the exposure for the wrestlers and for ourselves, and just to be a part of something like that. And like Nick said, the turnout was awesome. I really like how they black out the entire arena and just put the spotlight on the ring to have everybody just focusing on that. Eyes don't wander. And I mean, I just thought it was a great job by everybody. I was impressed.
Yeah. I agree. It was a great experience. I me being there before with the tribute show, where I felt that was I don't want to say too many negative things about a tribute show, but it was very disorganized and kind of felt like it was just thrown together. And maybe it was. I mean, because of the situation, maybe they didn't have the time to do what they needed to do, but it was kind of thrown together, and it was tables were just kind of thrown in areas, and we got stuck in a corner where nobody was real. There was like no traffic, and it was a one way in, one way out kind of corner, and we couldn't even, our vantage point, we had no vantage point of viewing the ring, and it made it very difficult to make any money and to contact have any contact with fans, and it's just kind of unfortunate, because then you got WrestlePro that does this, and they kind of close in an area that they're going to use, and that's all they're going to use. And the spotlight, like you said, was on the ring. You could barely see the kind of the fans, unless the lights went out onto the crowd and did all that panning out. But it was the main focus is where it should have been, which was in the ring. And I got to see a lot of the matches. It was a huge, very long card. Eight matches, then intermission, and then 5 matches, and closing out with a battle royal. It went into the wee hours of the night, and but in the long run, it was a very successful night for them. It was a lot of chatter on Facebook and social media about it, as David Adams would say. WrestlePro was trending worldwide. So it was a good experience, but just from bringing in wrestlers to a wrestling show, it was really good. And we did, when I explained to people what our itinerary was for that weekend, everybody looked at me and you're like, you're nuts. Like, how the hell are you going to pull that off?
I told some of my coworkers where I work, my normal 9 to 5. I told my coworkers the week before, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm doing this, and this," and then I come in on Monday, and they're like, "How was your weekend?" I was like, "Well, I drove probably a total of 500 miles during the weekend." I went, I told them exactly where we went and everything. They're like, "That's absolutely insane." I go, "Yeah, I know. I know we're crazy, but we love it." So
it is. It's just pure insanity, and just the stress leading up to the whole day is probably more than the actual day.
Yeah.
Once you pick everybody up and you kind of get into that hotel and you're waiting for that next day to happen, and you pick them up in the morning, everybody loads in the van. It's kind of like a sigh of relief. Like, okay, mission accomplished. They're all here.
Yeah.
Let's get this bad boy started. And so that was the first time and won't be the last time, that I had to rent a 12 plus passenger van. And I thank God for companies that do that rent those out.
Yeah,
because
thing drives like a tank.
Oh, it was great though. Yeah, didn't have much pickup with 12 grown adults in the car, but It got us where we had to go, and plenty of room for luggage and gimmick bags and Amber O'Neill's life bags and all that stuff.
Life bag, dude. That thing was the size of freaking Mount Rushmore, bro.
It probably weighed as much too.
We love you, Amber, but
man, I was like, put that into 2 pieces of luggage next time, please.
I
swear that nobody wanted to pick it up. It was just me. I was like, oh, I got it.
Yeah.
Nobody wanted to pick that bag up. So I mean, it all started at 8 o'clock in the morning when we arrived at the hotel, picking up our cast and crew, and of course there was confusion immediately because Barbie Hayden, who had her own car, didn't tell me the night before that she was driving herself to the convention. So here we are waiting for her to come downstairs. Finally, I had to go inside and call her in a room to find out that she's driving herself, so we were waiting for no reason. So, right off the bat, we had some miscommunication, but we got on the road and boom, we got to Queens. Got there in good time.
Definitely got there in good time.
Little bit of traffic. That was really it. Nothing major.
More leaving Queens than going.
Yeah, but we hit a little bit of merging into the one lane at this exit and all that nonsense because Grand Central Parkway is terrible. We got to see MetLife Stadium and Citi Field, and we were very excited to get to see all that stuff. And then we get to the venue, and then that's where it gets exciting because I got to drop everybody off, and now I have to go find a parking spot. And the garage is too small for the van. There's no parking, even if you had a permit, to even park in the parking lot of the hotel. And then I had to find a spot in the street that was big enough for a 12-passenger van. So I parked about a mile away. And then I had to find a way to get down, which I went way out of my way to get down the blocks because not every street went right down to the main road, not knowing that there was a flight of stairs that went right down to the street from the top. So found that out after I passed it, so we learned that on the way back. But yeah, so and immediately, I mean, as soon as you guys got them in, it was popping immediately. Because I walked in and you guys already had a crowd around the table.
Yeah, dude, we already had money in the bag by the time you walked in.
Yeah, that's how long it took me to walk back. But
yeah.
But I gotta say that the LaGuardia Plaza Hotel, they do a really good job. The restaurant brings out tables and they serve like little finger food and stuff. And water and soda for the for the fans and for the people that are there, and and they don't overcharge for it. It's like $2 for a slider, $2.50 for this one, $2 for a soda, $1 for a pretzel, whatever it is.
Yeah,
nothing crazy. You can eat a decent meal for $6, $7, and it's a good holdover because in my head I know where we're going after big event. Nobody else knows where we're going, but I know where we're going. Because I know we got to drive through Brooklyn to Staten Island to get back to Jersey because that's the way it likes to bring us back. So I know what we're passing. So, I'm excited in the back of my head. I'm like, yeah, we're gonna go get some Villamonte. We're gonna get some food.
Villamonte's, bro. Bob Orton's favorite place.
Oh my god. And it's funny, if anybody doesn't know about Villamonte's on Arden Avenue in Staten Island, New York. You have to go there. Tell them Damage 365 Radio sent you.
It's amazing food.
Amazing food. And it's so amazing that we brought Bob in for Legends of the Ring back in that was what, October? Okay.
Yeah.
And we brought him there and he ate there. And because we brought him to Warriors of Wrestling that night. So we brought him into Staten Island and fed him and whatever. That meal had such a lasting effect on him that when I told him where we were going after big event, he was like, "Oh, I know exactly what I'm gonna get." He's like, "I'm getting chicken marsala, no mushrooms, salad, and no tomatoes." And he's like, "And no pasta."
And Eric Young ate the entire pizzeria. So
yeah, he pretty much anything that was pre-made and didn't have to wait to be cooked, he ate it. So.
For a guy who's 230 pounds, all he had was a muffin that morning and some cookies. So I think the guy needed to eat. So.
Yeah, he ate.
Hell yeah, he did.
He ate, and I think he was eyeing some slices on the way out if he knew he can eat it without making a mess on the van.
Probably.
That beeping noise, folks, is just people messaging us about the show, wanting to come on, things like that. If you keep hearing a beeping noise, so. But yeah. So after the big event, which was from 10 to 3, I think we left there about 2:45. Or I think we packed up about 2:45. Time we got out of there, it was about 3:00. We got everybody on the van. We headed back through Staten Island. We stopped at the restaurant. We had an awesome meal. Everybody had a great time. And again, thanks to Villa Monti, they do a fine job hooking us up over there. They take care of us. The food is spectacular. All the help there is great. And they're also big supporters of Warriors of Wrestling too. So you'll always see their banner hanging in the vestibule there. So it's pretty cool. And then we moved on to Rahway. We drove from Staten Island back over the Goethals Bridge this time. We did a lot of bridging. We went over the Goethals Bridge into Rahway, New Jersey. Again, dropped everybody off. Went to go get a parking spot. This one was a little bit easier because I made my own. And immediately, as soon as we walked in, it was like all the eyes were popping, all the bright eyes were opening. Like, oh, Bob Orton's here. Oh, the Killer Bees are here. Oh, Amber O'Neill's here. Like everybody, they were waiting. They were ready. We apologize. We did show up 15 minutes late, but I had to feed the army.
Yeah.
So
had to feed the army.
So we got in. We had like kind of a private room with 2 other promoters, which was pretty cool. And I have to say, and I don't think any promoter that was in that room will disagree with me, that Bob Orton stole the show in that room.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
Basically everywhere he went.
Yeah, he was what you would say is the cash cow of this industry. Obviously, having the last name Orton doesn't hurt. Being a WWE Hall of Famer doesn't hurt. Wrestling during the golden era, arguably the greatest era of wrestling, doesn't hurt. And he's an awesome guy. So, and he's so easy to talk to, fun to talk to. Fans asked him about Randy, and he had no problem answering them and, telling them what's going on with Randy's health situation, and he'll be back soon, and, don't count for him at WrestleMania, but he's trying to get back for SummerSlam. So, he told it like it is, and, and he was great with the fans. But, I'd say about 6:45-ish. He was off and in the car on his way to South River, New Jersey, to take part in UWA Elite's intermission. About that time, Killer Bees were packed in your car and on your way back to Staten Island for Warriors of Wrestling's intermission. And I stayed there with Eric Young, Amber O'Neil, and Barbie Hayden, which Hayden and O'Neil had a match for the NWA Women's Championship, which that went very well, and neither one of them were happy about it, like their match, but it was probably better than they would have critiqued themselves. They probably, knowing their talent level, they probably could have put on a better match, but it's kind of hard when, you have minutes to plan out a match, and you're on the road all day long. So it probably would have been better if the two of them would have been in a van together instead of driving in separate cars, because they could have talked about it all.
Yeah.
But, it is what it is. But they put on a really good match. Amber O'Neil victorious, still NWA Women's Champion. And, then we took part in intermission, which pretty much everybody, Bob Orton got back to Rahway 4. You guys got back just in time for the end of it. And then we left a little bit after intermission, and it was time, not like, Bruce Buffer, it's time! It was time to drop off the Bees and Bob to the hotel and find a television with some UFC.
Mm-hmm.
We dropped the old guys off, and
we dropped the guys off that wanted to go to sleep, and we continue with Amber, Barbie.